so against them. And that is something that we've seen, and we're kind of see it starting that way with Shorter here tonight. It's that same inability to perform on the road. But it is a team that's won 5 straight games and is certainly playing good basketball right now.
It started off with a steal from Wilson all the way into the hands of Singleton with a nice floater teardrop. Fell for 2. The first points of Shorter's early afternoon. Here on the Conference Carolinas Digital Network. Here comes Savannah Nicholson. The freshman dishes it down low in a huge denial.
One with contact at that, as Danielle Early will head to the free throw line. And, you know, Southern Wesleyan is a team that sees trips to the free throw line, sees a good bit of them. But their capitalization rate is quite poor. 61% as a team this season. That is the worst free throw percentage in the conference. And free throws are oftentimes how these close games get decided. So when you look at their inability to produce at the free throw line, that's hurt them in a lot of situations this season. But a good trip right there for Early, going 2 for 2.
Yeah, supposedly, according to statistics, only 43%. Bro, I'm so glad we're not live right now. Gotta wake up, gotta wake up. It'll be Kyra Price to bring things into the all-star Michaela Raines, averaging just about 14 points per game. Elite is an understatement. And she'll take herself a trip up to the free throw line.
She's somebody that's really grown in her second year with Southern Wesleyan, has a little bit more familiarity in the offensive scheme, in just her teammates, in the team chemistry, and all that sort of stuff that really helps you just grow as a player. Better relationship with her coaches, and it shows in her ability on the court. She went from 6 points per game last season and just about 20 minutes per game to now a team-leading 14.5 points per game, 10th in the Conference Carolinas, and a career-high 33 points against Lees McRae. 4 games with 20-plus this season. She's certainly taken her ability to score, her dynamic abilities on the court, and really tried to elevate this Southern Wesleyan team as much as possible.
18.5 points per game over the course of the last 6, highlighted by a 26-point performance against Erskine just a few matches ago. We're already about to surpass that 6-minute mark. It's 8-2 here on the Conference of Carolinas Digital Network. Here comes Raines. Raines guarded heavily by Singleton, the junior out of Cypress, Texas. Found its way out to Early. Looking to get an early start. Goes ahead, grabs her own rebound, kicks it out to Price. Price dishes a 3. Timeout is called. That one huge for the Southern Wesleyan University Warriors. We'll take a quick break with them here on the Conference of Carolinas Digital Network. We welcome you back here to a 11-2 game. The Southern Wesleyan University Warriors looking to take their very first win over the Shorter Hawks, who a pretty recent addition to this Conference of Carolinas conference as Ryan tries to throw this one down. That was Ryan Wilson. Eventually, the pickup is put back in by Jelia Zachary out of Southwest Tennessee Community College. The transfer portal being heavily utilized here in this Conference of Carolinas. But I tell you what, Jordan, going back to my earlier point, the Conference of Carolinas continues to grow. Ferrum was the 16th member. Shorter was their 15th. They were part of the Gulf South Conference from 2012 till the end of the 2023-2024 academic year. So they started playing against Conference of Carolinas opponents in the 2024 fall season. And man, have they brought a lot of entertainment. Southern Wesleyan, kind of a bit of a grudge. A 3-0 run in regards to wins against this Warriors team. They're looking to stop that here at home, here in the Tysinger Historical Gymnasium. Welcome here to the Conference of Carolinas Digital Network. My name's Colin Calvert, Jordan York alongside me. Some technical issues have finally brought us to a live standing here. Jordan, I got to ask you, your players to watch and the keys to the game today.
Well, I think the key to the game just for both of these teams comes in the rebound margin, because Southern Wesleyan is a team that is dead last in the Conference of Carolinas in that particular statistic, out-rebounded by almost 10 rebounds per game. And as for players to watch, for Southern Wesleyan, we're going to start with Michaela Raines, because she really has developed so well in her second season with Southern Wesleyan, averaging about 14.5 points per game, 4 games with 20-plus points this season, and has really been peaking as of late. And for Shorter, it's Amaya Reedus. She is an incredible talent, capable of being a microwave, a spark plug for this Shorter Hawks team. A career-high 41 points earlier this season versus Flagler. She has 16.4 points per game, which is good for 6th in the Conference of Carolinas.
Amia Patterson, the senior forward out of Orlando, Florida, drops it in the bucket. So threes exchange from side to side. We saw Lookie cash in her second, and then we saw Patterson drain it from deep.
And Amaya Patterson is really a special talent as well. Started all but 4 games last season, and she's a 4-year veteran with Shorter. In an age where the transfer portal is used seemingly to no end, she has remained loyal in Rome, and she's been rewarded with a starting spot in almost every game this season. She's played incredibly well, had a career-high 24 points in the opener versus Clayton State, but she's particularly reliable from the free throw line, shooting almost 90% from the charity stripe.
We see Lexi Ransom alongside Emily Gaman checking the game for the Warriors, and just like that, Patterson knocks down 2. So back-to-back three-pointers for her. Her and Lookie on equal footing in regards to threes. Ransom, deep dish. That one served hot and ready. 17-12. Holy moly, what a start.
Both teams shooting incredibly well from the three-point line. 66% for Shorter. Patterson being the only one to even attempt three-pointers so far, and she's 2 for 3. Southern Wesleyan's already fired up 7 and hit 4, and in particular Lookie, who is just an incredible talent. The leading scorer returning for the Warriors this season was 3rd on the team last season, but 8 10-plus point games last season. This season averaging about 9.7 points per game. Really had a good day versus Emmanuel, where she had a career-high 22 points.
Deanna Hayes looking to get big down low, and she's denied access. Great defense there from the Hawks. But we will see some late contact there by Hayes, and it'll be right back in the talons of the Hawks.
And something worth noting with this matchup, the first time these teams met earlier this season when Shorter took the 19-point victory, was that there was not a single double-digit scorer for Southern Wesleyan in the loss. There was a lot of distribution, a lot of ball movement and getting different people involved, but there was not one reliable target, and the field goal percentage, was quite poor. Just 35% on the day. As a team, that's not going to win you a lot of games.
It's all about conversion. You can have the ball in your hands as many times as you want to, feed it to your teammates as much as you can, find that great shot opportunity, but if you can't cash in, then what's the point? This one unable to be cashed in. And that was Reedus yet again. Hayes. Well, apologies, that was Esther Cole out of Brooklyn, New York. Going up high, they'll call this one straight on out of play. Gamon, the Abraham Baldwin Agriculture transfer. On the way to Hayes, here comes Gamon. Steps up, dishes down low, and once again, unable to be finished by Hayes out of Piedmont, South Carolina. She's a local product from Wren High School.
And she's really reliable on the glass. The team leading rebounder with about 5-ish rebounds per game. She is going to get you those extra opportunities, whether it be her ability to get defensive rebounds or whether it be her ability to create second chance opportunities for the Warriors. Hayes, very reliable in that regard. The shooting, not so much, about 38%, which isn't bad, but she's reliable for a good bucket or two in just about every game, and consistency is what Southern Wesleyan really needs.
Yeah, she's had 2 games with double-digit rebounds, 12 against Georgia College, 11 versus Converse, both of those resulting in a win as well. So, hey, that's one statistic to look out for. If she's in double-digit rebounds, then the higher a chance and opportunity that SWU has to get a win on the board. 1 minute remains here in the first quarter. Man, it has flied by. Of course, we're sorry about the earlier technical issues, but things look to be back and going here in Central South Carolina. Reedus flops it up and flops it in. 45 to go.
And that was Reedus' first points of the game. Really good defense on her so far by the Warriors. You can tell they've factored her into the game plan. They're trying to limit her opportunities as much as possible. She's going to get some, but does she get 40? That's the difference.
Butler going down, can't convert. They'll call it out of play. It'll be Ransom to inbound. Great heads-up play, but look, if you're going to take it from all the way across court, you got to be able to convert. I get there was a bit of an obstacle in your way. Lexi Ransom sped down the court, but still, those open opportunities, make them convert and turn them into points.
And this is a big possession here for SWU. Try to get some points on before the end of the quarter.
And Ransom heaving it up on a hope and a prayer, and with 4 seconds remaining, Shorter with the ball flying out of their hand, the high arcing shot results in nothing but a 2-point gain here in Teisinger Historical Gymnasium. 17-15, we'll see you on the other side. We welcome you back here on the Conference of Carolina's digital network to historical Teisinger Gymnasium here in the beautiful Central South Carolina. Of course, some snow is expected this upcoming weekend, and you know how they are here in South Carolina. A little bit of snow means nothing's going to be going on here in the upstate. Everything canceled, from sporting events to school to everything. South Carolinians do not know how to handle their snow, but hey, for all those SWU fans that are wondering, are the Saturday games canceled or just moved? They've been moved now to Friday, 3 and 5 p.m. tip-off for both the women's and men's, so keep a lookout for that. As we go right back to the action, Southern Wesleyan taking on Shorter. The third time in program history these two teams have met, and the smallest margin of victory for the Shorter team has been 12 points. Jordan, what does SWU have to do to not have the same result as they have the past three matchups?
Well, I think what it comes down to ultimately, this is going to sound obvious, but their ability to hit shots and their ability to rebound. The field goal percentage is worse in almost every game they've lost, and their rebounding, in particularly the last meeting, was horrible. 21 team rebounds versus 38 for Shorter. That is not going to win you any games because rebounds are so often where games are won. You know, everybody talks about three-pointers and free throw percentage, especially in March. But rebounding is so critical because it creates so many second chance opportunities, gives you extra possessions where you can score more points. That's what Southern Wesleyan has really been lacking this season.
We saw Lookie cash in the three earlier, her third three, now 3 for 4 on the afternoon. Of course, just 1 point away from being the first double-digit scorer here in just the second period of play. Like you said, Jordan, last time these two teams met, it was only Kyra Price that got close to being in the double digits. She had 9 as the floater from Nicholson goes well. And we've seen Patterson light up the boards. Already 9 points, 3 for 5 from the field. She's been the all-star player to watch today. We talked about Ritas being that high-ceiling player that you expect to go off, but right now she's been ice cold.
And we talked about that double-digit scoring, and how about Peyton Lookie just a minute in to the second period, able to find her way into that margin. 4 for 5 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, and that ultimately is huge because SWU as a team is shooting 50% from 3. Three-point percentage is something that they're fairly good at. That's an area where they are successful. But, you know, we talk so much about the road teams struggling in the Conference Carolinas across the board. But SWU struggles at home. Not a single home victory yet here in historical Tysinger Gymnasium. The Warriors are 0-5 here this season, looking to change that here tonight.
Well, they've got enough momentum again. 2 back-to-back wins, one against Ferrum, one against Payne as Nicholson tries from deep. That one won't go. Nicholson, another one of those double-digit scores you want to keep an eye out for. A freshman out of Sunrise, Florida, and man, she has been a bright spot here for this SWU team. 11.3 points per game. She's shooting 36% from 3.
And
Gabon getting active. Again, another big asset that was brought over from the transfer portal. It's exactly what SWU needed. They needed someone that was really active defensively to really complement the ideal shooting schematic that this team has. And Peyton Lookie, all a part of that shooting scheme. And hey, already off to the races. 14 points, not even in to the brunt of this first half.
Lookie had just 4 points the first time these teams met. Her season high was her career high, 22 against Emmanuel. But she is a woman on a mission here in this first half, playing lights out, shooting the ball lights out. But can she sustain that? Because as well as she's playing, a lead of 8, not anywhere safe against a team that is as hot as Shorter is as of late, having won 5 straight games, projected 6th in the Conference of Carolinas this season, yet sit unbeaten at the top of the Southwest Division, one of 3 unbeatens in division play in the Conference of Carolinas. Ultimately, that is something that SWU, if they want to pull this, what would be called an upset, they need to extend that lead as much as possible.
And Ritas again just having trouble right underneath the rim as we are back to the action. 25-17 here. Here's Gaman. Now, of course, going back to Lookie, and you made a really good point, Jordan. The lead isn't by much. It's by 8. You don't have much wiggle room to work with. It's going to be up to the supporting cast to really take care of the ball. Not only that, but just be there for the rebounds, the second chance opportunities, maybe whenever Lookie misses or whenever Nicholson misses, because we're seeing all the activity from out wide. This is a really tall, lengthy, shorter defense. They have a great selection of forwards. It's going to be up to SWU to really diversify their shot selection, especially if they can't penetrate the paint, which they've done a great job working from level to level. But going back to Lookie, 1 for 8 over the last 3 games from 3. And man, already looking at her today, 4 for 5. What a way to bounce back. Here comes Early with a shot clock against her. She'll miss, finds the crutch no more. It's back in the hands or the talons of the Hawks. It's going to be Jaliyah Zachary. Apologies, that's Singleton. Gaman playing some heads-up defense, just running right into her. Don't know if I'd say that's heads up, more like backs up. And that'll be a quick foul on the ground. We'll see Raines check back in, and we see Jordan Race, who we have yet to see the entirety of the season, made a 3-minute appearance against Ferrum, was hurt in the offseason this season, and brings a lot more length to that front court of SWU. We'll see how she gets things going here early on in the second period.
And Race, somebody that really has struggled with injury during her career with Southern Wesleyan. Played every game her freshman season, was very consistent. But last year, just 9 games. And today, just her second appearance with the Warriors this season. You hope she's finally healthy and is able to produce consistently for Southern Wesleyan, and they can count on her to be available, because the best ability, regardless of what you have on the basketball court, is availability. And that's what Race has been lacking so far this season. But hopefully, that'll no longer be the case.
And for this SWU squad, there really is no true post player either. I mean, yes, you have Kyra Price, you have Early, you have Cole, and you have Hayes, but none of them have really established themselves as an ideal sharpshooter from down low. You need someone that can dominate at the mid-range, and the big question is, can Race, being healthy, do that for this SWU team? We'll take a quick break here on the Conference of Carolinas Digital Network. See you on the other side of this timeout. We welcome you back here to historic Theisinger Gymnasium here in Central South Carolina as SWU looking to secure their potential 6th victory of the season. We'll see that one high fly, and Superwoman is Singleton, the Cypress Ranch High School product. In her junior year, she has been so efficient so far this season and one of the top leading scorers for this Hawks squad. 11.8 points per game. They're going to really need her to be on her A game today. The quick steal on the way is Amari Butler, and this time she converts.
And Butler is a fascinating player to watch, that's to say the least. She was a 4-time first-team All-District member in high school, was at Dakota College, where she averaged 18.6 points per game, along with 7 rebounds per game. But since coming to Shorter, hasn't been quite as effective. A big jump from Dakota College to D2, but she can still be an impact player. Saw a season-high 31 minutes in the matchup against Young Harris, which was the last victory for the Hawks. Produced 8 points, and you kind of get the sense she's peaking at the right time.
And that was her right there, draining that three. And we're just seeing an exchange of threes a lot. It is just blow for blow. We saw Gaman sink her 4th three-pointer of the season. And that time, Ransom trying from way downtown. It'll be Singleton now. The cross-court pass, looking for another three, won't convert, is Butler. Able to grab her own rebound. You got to have some sticky hands here if you're SWU. Those rebounds need to be in your hands each and every time. You can't allow second chance opportunities. Here's an opportunity here. A very interesting shot. I don't know what you'd call it. Shot form. There from the likes of Ryan Wilson, the senior forward out of Georgia. But hey, at times we've seen it cash in. Gaman, the extra pass. That one deep for Ransom. She's a high-volume, low-efficiency player from three. She'll flash whenever she's given a bit more minutes, but right now it's kind of a catch-and-shoot type of deal for her, and it's really a 50-50 opportunity.
Yeah, just 30% from three this season, only 16 makes, so she's not exactly misreliable from three-point land. But Southern Wesleyan as a team makes about 7.5 threes per game. They already have 7 in this first half. So there's a major uptick in production so far. But the old saying is it's always better to be hot in the second half than the first. Southern Wesleyan shooting at a great rate right now, particularly from three-point land. Can they sustain that into the latter half of this game? That is what time will tell.
And only 2 minutes till we take that halftime break here on the Conference of Carolina's digital network. And right now, Jordan, I have to ask, if you're shorter, you're down by 2 with these last 2 minutes, what's the game plan? Who are you tossing this ball to in hopes that you can take or tie up?
You know, I don't think that there really is a game plan to get a specific shooter involved right now. I think they're just trying to get everybody in rhythm, because outside of Patterson, who has 9 points, there's not a lot of consistency shooting-wise for shorter. You look at Reedus, who's 1 for 4. You look at Wilson, who's 1 for 3. You look at Butler, who's 2 for 7, 2 for 8 now after that last miss. There's just not a lot of confidence that this shorter team is shooting with. And that is something, I think they're just trying to instill confidence in the shooters on the floor that buckets can go.
And that bucket will go. Cash is in for SWU. They're at 30. A minute and a half remains. Shorter on the back end of things. That one will fall. Chelsea Singleton yet again. Talk about, I tell you what, punch for punch, blow for blow. I've said it already, but man, this match is close. Here's Raines, who's coming off 16 points against Ferrum. Kicks it over to Price. Price looks, scans, finds Race. Top of the key is the junior. Raines pulls up from mid-range, just outside the free throw line, and makes this shorter team pay. Less than a minute to go. It's in the hands of the Hawks. Singleton working. We saw that step back three plenty of times there in the first quarter. And just like that, Patterson gets it going again. Raines, quick foot. Breaking ankles all over the court. Lets it fly, and that'll fall. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. She's going to try and make that one a three-point play.
And right when you saw Patterson hit another deep three, really who's been the bright spot of this Hawks offense, you then see Raines, who we talked about as our player to watch, who was just tremendous in her ability to drive inside, launch the mid-range floater as she got fouled, and got a friendly bounce, and then capitalized at the free throw line.
It's exactly what you need. Draw opportunities when they present themselves. And I love that aggressive style of play that Raines plays with. Kind of forward-leaning with the body every time she drives in. And, hey, aggressive offense translates to aggressive defense. She ends up the three. That one won't cash in. And that'll be the end of your first half. 35-31. The Southern Wesleyan University Warriors lead by 4. The question is, can they hold on the rest of the way. We'll see you here shortly after this 15-minute break and see you on the other side.
Life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people.
Basketball is back here in historic Tysinger Gymnasium here in Central South Carolina. My name's Colin Calvert alongside the Jordan York. Jordan, we've got ourselves just a 4-point game, and it has been 3-point heaven. Overall, I want to hear your thoughts on that first half and what needs to be fixed from both sides and what it's going to take SWU to hold on to this lead and win their first game in this 3-game series.
Well, those are a lot of things you've asked of me, Colin, to start this second half. But fortunately, I have answers for you for all of them. What worked in the first half was the three-point shooting, especially for SWU. Shooting better from three-point land than they are from the field, and they're shooting 40% from the field. That should tell you something that is successful. They're also not getting killed in the rebound margin. They're only losing by 3. Usually they lose by about 10 per game. So based on that pace, they're off to a better start here tonight. For Shorter, just couldn't get any rhythm, it seemed like. Yes, there were blows being traded back and forth, punches being thrown in shot after shot, but there didn't seem to be anybody with any rhythm outside of Amaya Patterson, and that's what they need to fix in this second half. Ultimately, shots just got to fall. Butler is their leading shooter right now with 8 field goals attempted. You got to get Reedus more involved in this offense because she is a beast. She had 16 points the first time these teams met, and she's been held to 2 so far in that first half. So that is what needs to be fixed for Shorter.
Absolutely, Jordan. And we just saw Peyton Lookey grab the first 2 points of SWU's second half of play. The kickback, the 3-ball won't fall. We do see Danielle Early down for the count, gripping that ankle. Timeout called by the Zebra Stripes, hoping and praying everything is all right with her. The freshman out of Greenville, South Carolina, going to be subbed out. In comes the likes of Deanna Hayes. And we talk about her, how she really needs to get back into that rebound rhythm that she found over the course of this season. She's had 2 games, double-digit rebounds. This is the type of game that you need to see that rebound margin really step up. Here comes Looking, round the corner, looking, sidestep 3. That one won't fall. Didn't have her feet set. We see Kyra Price find herself in the flooring. The quick back on the defensive. Singleton, apologies, Jordan. Singleton now 6 points, flies this one in, and that one to be intercepted and overcome by SWU. Kyra Price just put the hand down, eventually finds its way into the hands of Nicholson.
And what I was going to say about Nicholson is, you know, we talked about SWU's three-point percentage, how they're shooting over 40% from 3. Nicholson, 0. And that is really surprising because she is misreliable when it comes to the three-point line. Shooting 35% on the year, 3rd in the Conference Carolinas, leads the Conference Carolinas in three-pointers made per game. But so far, her only 3 shot attempts have been from deep, and all of them have missed. I would expect that to change here in the second half.
Yeah, again, you talk about just the amount of shots that she takes. 83% of her shots are from beyond the arc. And that's 129 total attempts. You're missing a very high volume amount of shots with her not being active in the offense. So really got to get her involved here if you want to hold on to this lead. It's 37-33. Here comes Nicholson looking to go coast to coast. She'll backtrack, kick it inside. Here comes Price, the right-handed finger roll.
And that was a little bit of a scary situation right there for SWU because there were 2 completely unguarded paint players there in Hayes and Price. It's a good thing that they were on the same page as to who that pass was for because it was kind of in the middle of both of them, but Price ultimately able to take it and capitalize on that golden opportunity. But Hayes was really smart to be like, you got that one. I'll watch it happen. And that is a blessing and a curse when you've got 2 people wide open, but when a ball goes right in between them, doesn't seem to have a clear target because it's just a heave, that is where the miscommunication can happen.
You talk about a heave there from Chelsea Singleton. And she's really making strides. 9 points so far on the night. After that, made 3. It's a 3-point game as Nicholson drives baseline, floats it up. She's blocked by Butler. It's a 2v2 situation. Down court, Butler tries to climb the ladder over Reigns. And looks like we'll see the first free throw opportunity of the second half, courtesy of Amari Butler.
And Amari Butler, absolute denial on the other end of Savannah Nicholson. That shot had no chance of getting anywhere close to that nylon, and then able to capitalize one of the shots on the opposing end, but an offensive rebound. The 8th of the night for Shorter. That has been a key factor in them getting second chance points.
Nice move, but unable to convert. Nicholson steps out of bounds. Looks like it will be a Hawks ball on the inbound.
And that rebound margin starting to widen. 8 offensive boards for Shorter, just 5 for SWU. SWU lucky that Shorter hasn't had any second chance points yet off of this opportunity.
Reedus out wide. Patterson lets it fly. That one won't go. Bad bounce. And it's Peyton Lookey in control. Lookey, another one of the many Floridians on this SWU team, kicks it out. Nice move, blocked again. This time by Ryan Wilson, the 6'1" forward. Really making this SWU team pay underneath the glass.
And I'll tell you what SWU is, or what Shorter, is really good at, and that's blocking shots. 4th in the Conference Carolinas in blocks per game, 2 3/4 they average. They're also the best shooting team in the conference. 41.9% from the field is first, and 34% from 3 is first.
And Wilson, a big part of that. That was her 7th block of the season. A true born and bred rim protector. We see Ransom having checked in the game. The steal coming away from Singleton. It's a 1v2. She'll float it up and in. That one, nothing but net from mid-range. And we have a tie ball game knotted at 39s here with 5 minutes to go in the third period. SWU has now let go of the lead. Lookey kicks it. Nesbitt looking, scanning, loses it. Trips over her own feet at the under 5-minute mark. Singleton and Lookey in a fight for it. They'll call it a jump.
And a real heads-up play on the other end from Singleton when she was able to take the steal. A lot of times you just want to sprint all the way, get the easy layup, but she jump stops in the paint, launches the 2, it's good, and we have a tie game. 39-all here in historical Tysinger Gymnasium. More action-packed Conference Carolinas basketball when we return.
We welcome you back here to the historical Tysinger Gymnasium as snow is approaching us here in South Carolina. Now, Jordan, you were telling me a funny story how you Texans don't do very well with the snow.
Yeah, no, we don't. It lives in infamy in Texas. It's called, depending on what you want to call it, either the snowpocalypse or snowvid. But it was basically, we got good bit of snow on the roads, affected travel pretty much throughout the entire state, but it was so shocking to us Texans that nobody was prepared for it. The entire energy grid in the state of Texas shut down. It was a shocking and difficult event. Millions of people without power and water for days. It was unique, to say the least.
So, of course, while you're out this weekend, make sure you're safe driving. And Just to remind all you SWU fans, the games upcoming will be rescheduled to this Friday. So 2 days from now at 3 and 5 p.m. The women's game to tip off at 3, men's at 5. Here comes Lookie around the corner, through the trees, stolen away by Wilson. Wilson now to Singleton. Singleton, who had to be calmed down by the zebra stripes. A bit of emotions flaring after that jump ball from Lookie, who Singleton was not looking out for whatsoever. We see her get active. We'll see the charge drawn. Amazing play there from Lexi Ransom.
And a turnover there for Shorter. How about that for turnover number 14 of the game for the Hawks? Turnovers, obviously a key statistic in any game. But in the first meeting, Shorter had 19, SWU had 22. So far, winning the turnover margin are the Warriors. Perhaps the result will be different. That is what we'll find out.
Both these two teams neck and neck in regards to scoring per game. This Shorter team just around that 63-point per game mark compared to SWU. Right there at around 65. Pretty neck and neck. But again, we've seen that it's been double digits that have decided the matches between these two teams each and every matchup. Ransom fighting for it. She's on the loose. Heads up play by Butler, flung right back to her. From outside and in, the charge call. So back-to-back possessions from Shorter ended by the charge. This will be SWU ball.
And that one actually going to be called a blocking foul. Butler rewarded for her hustle there on the steal and the transition opportunity. Free throws for her when we come back, but still all even at 39. What's bound to happen next is anybody's guess here in Central.
Tied up at 39 here with some free throws on the way, or at least that's what we thought. We do see the zebra stripes in a bit of a discussion here right near the SWU side of the court. But it will stand that Butler will see 2 shots at the line. Butler so far this season has found herself at a 37% free throw shooting percentage. Just 10 for 27 on the year. Pitiful, to say the least, Jordan, as both of those unable to be capitalized upon. That could have been the lead-taking point. But here's Shorter with the ball back in hand, and it's Butler leading the charge. She's got an open lane, takes it low. That time going high is the likes of Patterson. Man, has she just been elite today. 14 points now.
Yeah, going back to the free throw percentage for Butler, that is certainly an aspect of her game that she needs to work on. But Patterson really showing she doesn't need to work on much because she has played incredibly well today. 4 rebounds, 14 points. She's been a bright spot, one of really 2 bright spots for Shorter so far.
And we see SWU players tripping over each other. That was Race and Ransom falling over top each other. It's a 2-point lead, 2.5 minutes remain here in the third period, and then 10 more minutes of action heading your way before the men's game, which is set to begin at around 7 p.m. The inbound from Williams. Singleton on to Williams. Looking down low to Wilson. Here's Butler. An extra pass down low, and Gamon with the reach and foul.
And that the 5th foul on Southern Wesleyan in this third quarter. Now Shorter in the bonus. They really get a chance to add points via the free throw line as a team shooting 68% from the free throw line. Not the best by any means, but certainly going to see a lot more opportunities than the Warriors because the Hawks have been much more disciplined defensively in this third quarter.
Yeah, and if you want to bring anybody to the line, you want to bring Patterson. Close to 90% as Butler finds that one just off the rim. Gamon has it pickpocketed, trying to find Race down low. Instead, it's Singleton. Singleton from coast to coast finds Williams for the quick two. 44-39. The Hawks flying away with this third period.
And they've really done a nice job in the last couple minutes creating takeaways. They do it again.
Singleton against Race. Right over her head and puts it in. Nice bounce for two. 46-39.
A 7-0 run. The Hawks flying high. A timeout called by SWU. Defense to offense. Transition basketball. Doesn't get any better than that. And Singleton, 6 steals. She's on fire, and so Shorter as they lead by 7.
We welcome you back right here on the Conference of Carolina's digital network as we look towards both the coaches for these two squads. Jordan?
Well, you probably heard the voice of head coach John Davis, very frustrated with his ladies as they headed into the timeout. But in his 14th season with the Warriors, reached 100 career wins in 2020. He has guided them to a lot of victories, coached a lot of talented all-conference players. And as for Shorter, they've got Marcus Hunt Jr., 10-plus years coaching experience at the high school level, but has really developed, spent 2 years at Blue Mountain State, and now at Shorter, he is doing tremendous stuff, leading a very talented Hawks team to still unbeaten in the Southwest Division.
And that was just what SWU needed. They really needed to get Michaela Raines back active in the offense after a few turnovers on her and her fellow teammates. And now a 6-point lead for Shorter. A 3 was more than necessary. But hey, you're absolutely right in regards to Marcus Hunt and the talent that he brings on to this team. Not only that, but this is a Shorter team that went 21-7 overall, 15-5 in conference play. They were 10-3 away last season and eventually lost to Chowan in the quarterfinals of the Conference of Carolina's tournament. But hey, a great run. They brought that momentum into this game, into this season per se, and right now have the lead. 51-42. They're looking to try and clinch a conference championship in just their second second year as a program in this Conference of Carolina's conference, that is. 3.2 seconds remain. 51-42. It's a 9-point game.
12-3 run to close out this period for the Hawks. That swarming defense, those busy hands created too many problems for SWU in that third period. 20 points in the third quarter for Shorter. They had 31 in that entire first half.
And Lookie seals the deal, tries to get Shorter off balance, cut down on that momentum that you were talking about there, Jordan, as we head right into the fourth and final bit of action here on the Conference of Carolina's Digital Network. We'll see you after the short break. Back here for the fourth and final bit of action here in Central South Carolina. Jordan York alongside me. My name's Colin Calvert. Glad to have you here with us as we look towards a 7-point game. SWU, after having the lead for a majority of this game, let the Hawks really run wild there in the third. Patterson, her signature step back three will come up just shy. A bit too far as she stepped back. And it'll be Michaela Raines to take the reign of this possession for SWU. But just like that, Butler, and she has done so well this entire game, forces the issue and gets right back on the offensive. That's some great transition ball that we've seen this Shorter team play. 7
steals for Amari Butler. She has been a thorn in the side of the Warriors the entire night. And one of the things worth watching is Patterson and Singleton have played every single minute of this game so far. Will fatigue perhaps set in if this ends up being a game that's close, coming down to the final 2 minutes, and they need them out on the floor? But they've played every minute of this game so far. No rest for the weary. We'll see if that hampers the Hawks as this game concludes.
Yeah, fatigue is definitely going to be a factor as we see SWU acting and seeming fatigue, letting the ball just fall right into the talons of this Hawks team. Turnover. We talked about how well they had taken care of the ball in that first half. Only 10 total turnovers. And then in that third, 7. And now 1 to start off one of their first possessions in this fourth period.
Amari Butler, 8 steals.
Blocked.
She's stealing everything.
And Singleton forces the issue with the block, but it's Raines to get her own kickback. Here's Price, the dribble drive. Heaves it up and in. Would you call it a comeback, Jordan?
Well, that was a big-time bucket there from Kyra Price, her first of this second half. 7 points, 6 rebounds tonight. You'd like to see her get a little bit more involved. 9 points now with that made bucket, but you just want to see a little bit more involvement because it's been a Peyton Lookie show for SWU, which isn't a bad thing by any means, but Nicholson hasn't been very effective. Early hasn't been very effective. Ransom only has a few points as well, so that is certainly something. As well as Lookie's playing, you got to get other people involved in this offense.
She's 4 points away from that season-high 22 that she had at Emmanuel. It's in the hands of Nicholson now. Nicholson, who we've seen little to none of so far. Price feeling like the hot hand, but she's turned ice cold. Looky only had 2 points so far in this second half, and that was to open it up. So now they're going to need to see a bit more involvement from her. It's a 9-point game with Singleton and Wilson at the helm of this charge. Butler over to Patterson. Patterson driving by Price. Heaves it up with the left hand. Somehow it goes in.
I'm not quite sure what Nicholson there was doing defensively, because Patterson basically drove into 3 SWU jerseys, but Nicholson didn't even try to swipe the ball away. I'm not sure if she was really concerned about picking up a foul. She has none so far in this game, but a lack of effort defensively proved critical in that opportunity, as Patterson now has 20 points tonight.
And we knew it was going to be one of those games for her once we saw the threes start to fall. Gaman checks in. Going to need a steady defensive presence and also someone who's not going to hand the ball over as much as we've seen from this SWU team just here in the second half. Already 9 turnovers in the latter part of this matchup. Nice rebound, and it's Gaman trying to work in transition. Price wasn't ready for the heave down court. You see the 2 forward set here. Good for setting screens and some catching and shooting. Gaman, not too avid from 3. She's only made 4, and one of those 3 balls was earlier today. Rains up the lane. That ball kidnapped, swiped away, and it's still an 11-point game.
Wilson with the takeaway there, and Shorter slowing it down, and this is what Shorter does so well. They limit possessions, because we talked about how they have the fewest rebounds per game, but they also allow the second fewest opponent rebounds per game. What that tells me is they like to keep these possessions and these games limited. A low-scoring game, you're looking at about 63 points per game on average, but only allowing 60. Shorter likes defensive basketball. They limit possessions, they create takeaways, and they've done exactly that here tonight.
And you got to remember, this is a Shorter team. As we see Nicholson drive the lane, great put up, but this is a Shorter team that's coming off 5 straight conference wins. They're feeling themselves right now. And so you got to imagine that, hey, with a lead that they've had right now, they might just keep it, hold on to it, and take SWU by storm the rest of this matchup. Patterson just 4 points away from her season-high 24 that she had whenever she opened up the season against Clayton State early on in November. So she'll get 2 chances here to bring it 1 point away from being 60. We'll see Nicholson head to the medical tent. She's looking to get potentially wrapped up. She had an earlier fall here on the right, far right side of your screen, deep in Shorter territory. Hoping all is well for the 3-point phenom out of Florida. And Patterson, she's lethal. We talked about how lethal she's been from a free throw perspective, coming off 6 for 6 from the charity stripe against Young Harris. Was 4 for 4 in the previous matchup against North Greenville. Majority of her nights have been perfect or nearly perfect. Here's Gaman, nice move, just flinging it up with the right hand, and there's the putback by Hayes. It's exactly what she's used for. Great off the dumps and the putbacks and the second chance opportunities, and now SWU is back within double digits, or back within single digits. My apologies.
And another, looks like second chance perhaps for Shorter, but the officials discussed the call. Possession does end up going to SWU. There would have been some pretty angry Warrior fans if that ball stayed with Shorter. But nevertheless, it's a 9-point game, 59-50, 4.5 minutes to play here from historical Tysinger Gymnasium. More Conference Carolinas action, the conclusion of it, when we return.
Within single digits is SWU, 9 points away from tying the shorter lead, 59-50. Jordan York alongside me for the final 4.5 minutes of action as we take a look across the Conference of Carolinas. Of course, you have North Greenville taking on Columbia College out of Columbia, South Carolina. Erskine taking on Francis Marion. UNC Pembroke against Mount Olive. Young Harris against King. And Warren Wilson against Lees McRae. All those games right in the heat of battle right now. We'll have Jordan York bring us an update here shortly. Rains on to Nicholson. Nicholson, good penetration, and she is denied, but the foul will come first. I feel like Nicholson just needs to see one go in. She's 64% from the charity stripe this season, 16 for 25, and make that 16 for 26. The avid shooter having a hard time getting the shots to fall. Free throws could make or break this game for SWU, and she misses both. And a bit distraught and frustrated with herself she is, and hey, as she should be. I know next time if she's out on the court, she'll make those, for sure. That's the discipline that this SWU team has. They see the corrections that need to be made, and they make them. Remains 59-50, 4 minutes, 15 seconds to go here. Here's Patterson. Able to off-center Price, loses it. Eventually picked up by Singleton. Singleton, the dish out. And we'll see the travel. Kaylin Williams out of Concord University, another great asset that was added on by the transfer portal. Many of this shorter team was brought on by that transfer portal, which has changed the environment of collegiate sports, as we know. But it looks as if we'll see a technical foul on the end of shorter, and looking to try and cash in. Got to make those. You've been given multiple opportunities, and you have not been able to convert.
And that was just very irresponsible from Kaylin Williams. Picking up your 4th personal foul, so you're 1 away from being out of this game. But also, you're ahead. Don't give Southern Wesleyan any free opportunities to get back into this game. You're lucky that they're one of the worst shooting free throw teams in the conference, and they showed it right there. But that's not something you're going to get away with very often.
I mean, that was 4 points left on the board, but Nicholson trying to bite back, and she does. Makes up for those earlier 2 missed free throws. Her and Lookie, they're the leaders of this team. Not only scoring-wise, but also just leadership presence-wise. You have to be able to make the shots that count. And speaking of making shots that count, have not seen much of Reedus today. Just 2 points for the 16-point per game average scorer. Again, we talked about that 41-point explosion against Flagler that she had. The ceiling is so high, but yet it seems like historic Teisinger Gymnasium has put a stoppage to that ceiling. Really shut it down.
Well, what it's been is just different production here today, because you look at who was productive in the first meeting with SWU, and it was Reedus and it was Manning. Today they both have 2 points. But Patterson had 6 in the first meeting. She's got 22 today, and Singleton had 6 in the first meeting. She has 15. So it's different production. When one of your teammates is having an off night, you can step up and help them, and that is exactly what Patterson has done tonight. Singleton as well.
Catch and shoot here for Nicholson. Price, the putback, swatted away. It's a loose ball. Lookie drives down, finds Rains. Rains in transition. We'll see the push foul. And definitely a bit aggressive there from Lookie, just flying off the rails, and her and Singleton collide.
And not much for Lookie to be frustrated about tonight. She's played very well, except that last free throw trip where she was 0 for 2, but that frustration getting the best of her, and that's a critical mistake because SWU, again, 5 fouls early in the period. The last 3 minutes and 9 seconds of this game, Shorter is going to be in the bonus, and that is just not something you can afford, especially trailing as they are, 60-52.
And, of course, we'll go ahead and take a look around the Conference of Carolinas.
Lee's McRae with a victory, or with a lead, I should say, over Warren Wilson. That game had a little bit of a later start time, but it's 22-14 as they wrap up the first period. UNCP dominant over Mount Olive. They lead it by 24 with just minutes to go in that one. The same goes for Francis Marion against Erskine. They lead 73-48 early stages of the fourth quarter, and North Greenville taking a significant lead. 3 minutes remaining in that one as they lead by 14 over Columbia College. That a non-conference matchup.
61-55. Thanks for the score update there, Jordan. As we just saw Savannah Nicholson have one of the most clutch three-pointers of the game. And now it's Patterson. That one heaved up. It will be SWU ball.
I want to take you back to what I said at the end of the first half when SWU was 7 for 16 from three. I said they were great in the first half, but could they sustain it in the second? The answer has been not quite. They're 2 for 6 in this second half, but a big one from Savannah Nicholson, and the make right there makes this a 4-point game. Just when you think Shorter might be pulling away, the Warriors battle back, and we have 2 minutes and 13 seconds to decide a winner here in Central.
SWU trying to find their very first home victory in a comeback against the Shorter University Hawks. Trying to also find the very first victory against Shorter since they joined the Conference of Carolinas, coming from the Gulf South Conference early on in 2024. 2:13 left. Jordan York alongside me, Colin Calvert, as we look towards some exciting basketball. It was Raines and Nicholson that really stepped up to the plate. It was Nicholson with the three, Raines with the lane driving two, and now it's going to be up to their defense to be disciplined and hold strong and not let any free throws fall.
Well, for Shorter, this 5-game winning streak wasn't built in a day, but Southern Wesleyan can take it all away in one night. We'll find out in the final 2 minutes if they can do it. It starts with good defense.
Singleton working up and in. The high arcing two will go. Minute 50 remains.
And who else to deliver for you if you're Shorter than Chelsea Singleton? She's been on one here tonight. 8 for 11 from the floor, 18 points. She is on fire.
Singleton, the teardrop. Apologies, that was Raines, the teardrop. And Singleton's just been so exciting to watch. Hard to get her name out of my head. Again, you look back at the stats, 18 points, just 4 behind Patterson, who has been elite. The Singleton to Patterson connection here eventually finds its way to Butler, who looks to drain the three, finds the side iron, no more. Good rebounding presence, a little more than a minute to go.
And more free throws coming for Shorter, coming from the hands of Singleton. And 20 points possibly within reach. She's 1 for 2 from the stripe tonight. Make it 2 for 3 on the season, she is consistent, to say the least. 82%. And we talk so much about Patterson's ability from the stripe, but Singleton has a chance to be in a very exclusive club, 50, 40, 90. She currently has it right now. We'll see perhaps if she can get it by the end of the year. But 50% from three, 46% from the field, and 82% from the free throw line. The 50, 40, 90, not at all out of reach.
And right now she controls the pace of this shorter team. But we'll see Raines head to the charity stripe. Try and cash in. That she does. Hey, for being one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the conference, SWU has got to have these makes here to redeem themselves. Now within 7. Raines makes it within 6. A 2-possession game, Jordan. And now it's going to be up to SWU to be lights out from 3. We talked about those 7 makes in the first half, only 2 since then. 9 for 22 so far on the day.
6 for 11 from the free throw line is SWU today. That just not what you were hoping for, especially because you had chances that were gift wrapped to go to the free throw line, and yet 0 for 4 in those gimme opportunities. That is going to come back to haunt SWU if, in fact, they fall at the hands of Shorter in this one. 2 big-time free throws for Patterson. She's got 24, tying her season high, her career high, when she had it against Clayton State. We'll see if perhaps she ends up adding more to it. But right now, an 8-point game. Shorter looking to close this one out. We will see if they do.
The final minute of action. And SWU in possession. They find Price, the overhead pass, finding Raines. Here comes Nicholson, looking for 3. Got it! Bada bing, bada boom! Within 5, and they'll foul here. And we'll look towards a shorter free throw opportunity. The entirety of the season, they've been sitting at 68%, averaging around 12 attempts per game. These will be some of the most important. 45 seconds is a long time here in basketball, especially if it's the fourth quarter of play. It's going to be a lot of fouls, and it's going to be a lot of shots chucked up. We'll see if any of those can cash in for SWU. And, of course, make sure you stay here with us on the Conference of Carolina's digital network as the men's game to be up next. And Jordan York to be the lead call on that. And of course, a quick reminder to all SWU fans, the Mount Olive games have been moved yet again to Friday, 3 and 5 p.m. tip-off. 69-62, here comes SWU. Raines. 15 points on her day, the dish down, and Price can't make it happen at the rim. Now it's going to be a game of keep away. Only 4 seconds between shot clock and game clock for SWU to work with. Not much time. Jordan, these are the game solidifying free throw shots right here. After this, who knows if SWU can even try and attempt to come back. It's going to have to be really disciplined defense, and it's going to have to be really big in the keep away game.
Well, it's really going to be up to can Lookie or Nicholson hit a 3. You know the ball's going in their hands if you're Shorter, so try and snuff it out before they have a chance to get the shot off.
Here comes Raines. Time is not in her favor. She needs Nicholson. Nicholson from NBA range will come up shy left side of the rim.
And that probably will do it. Just a little bit too much of a mountain to climb. 9 points in 16 seconds. Great effort from the Warriors today. Battled all the way back, but in the end, shorter. Just a bit too much. Patterson and Singleton combine for 24, and the Hawks make it 6 straight victories as they continue to roll in Conference Carolinas play.
And with that, 10 wins on the season to their 7 losses, 8 conference wins, 6 straight for the Hawks. And the SWU Warriors drop to 5-13. We'll see if they can do any better against Mount Olive this upcoming Friday. We'll see you then at 3 p.m. On to the men's game. Jordan York going to be the lead call. We'll see you here shortly.